We have the Chief Magistrate Court in Iyaganku, Ibadan, has ordered the remand of 3 key figures in connection with last week's tragic stampede at Bashorun Islamic High School. The individuals include Mr. Abdullahi Fasasi, the school's principal, Alhaji Oriyomi Hamzat, the proprietor of Agidimbo FM, and Naomi the extra draft of Oba Etete Ayeyogunsi, the owner of Ilefe, presided over by Chief Magistrate Olabisi Ogunkami. The court's ruling came on Tuesday following their arraignment by the Oyo State Police Command. The proceeding took place under heightened security with a crowd of family members and interested parties gathered outside the courthouse. The defendants face 4 count charges related to the incident, as outlined by the police prosecutor, who cited the violation of Section 324 of the Criminal Code, Cap 38, Volume 2, Laws of Oyo State 2000. After hearing the charges, Chief Magistrate Ogunkami ordered the trio to be held at Agodi Correctional Center while awaiting further guidance from the state prosecutor. I also want to hear from you, Mr. Oscar. Do you think this was the right move to take by the magistrate court to arrest these organizers of the stampede that occurred in Ibadan or your state?
Well, I think this whole thing, because they have refused the government to take blame of the level of hunger in the land. It's just maybe a direction from what happened, because the purpose why it happens was because people were looking for succor on how to get their Christmas palliative.
So indirectly, these organizers did not have any evil intention. They actually came out on a goodwill to distribute these palliatives that actually got this crowd involved.
The challenge is that oftentimes philanthropists find themselves in this kind of challenges or problems, because it's just like I am now. I know very well that there is hunger. So let's assume I have what it takes to invite my community youth, citizens, or people from my community to my compound for a Christmas entertainment. I'm sure that my gate will pull off, because there is no way that the number of crowd that will hear the good news, to them is a good news. There is no way that the number of crowd that will hear the good news will not want to come in with their numbers. So, and that happened because those persons may not be coming because they want to, they are your well-wishers, may not be coming because they want to be around you, may not be coming because they feel that you are one of the leaders in the community, but rather a lot of persons, out of 100% of those that will come there, about 75% will be those that are facing serious hunger situation. And that is the problem. Just how many months ago, I was among those that led the hunger protest, and then I believe that the purpose of this hunger protest was to see how we can call the attention of the federal government of Nigeria under Bola Ahmed Tinubu to look into the situation and then see how it can be able to address the lingering economic crisis that is going on in our various individual lives. But unfortunately, the president paid deaf ear to it. Instead of them to look into the situation, a lot of institutions, organizations, agencies, government agencies, and all of that came up and then organized a counter-protest against a genuine protest, because the people were calling for hunger situation. Now, the hunger protest that was supposed to last for how many days was interrupted by agencies that are close to government, or agencies that are under the current federal government of Nigeria. It becomes a very serious setback. The result of the hunger protest was not at well to be addressed. Even when the situation was sent to Mr. President, and the report was sent to Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to address the lingering crisis, Mr. President never paid attention to it. Rather was painting it as those of the enemies of his government, seeing it as the enemies of his government, a government that you know very well that is not actually concerned about the governance or the well-being of the citizens of this country. Now imagine that in what do you call it, Okija, the same thing happens, and in other places this whole thing happens. And then look at the number of people that died in Anambra State. Look at the number of young ladies. Look at the number of young men that died in Anambra.
There's actually a situation of a woman that died with her baby on her back.
So you can imagine.
But the story actually says that this particular lady, her husband asked her not to go anywhere. But in my thoughts, I could try to be in her head. the reason why she actually disobeyed her husband to do this quickly. We could have a scenario where this man has a shop, because according to the story, the man is a store owner. He has a petty business, and then probably he's not making sales. And this could be due to the fact that people don't have money to actually patronize him, and he's not making sales. And this woman could be in her thoughts, oh, let me go and see if I could get free food to cook for my husband, because there is no money for us to buy food. There is no food at home, and she has a little baby with her. So I'm trying to wrap my head around reason why she could actually get to disobey her husband to do this thing, and got involved in this tragic situation that she lost her life with her baby on her back. And according to the story, the husband was informed. They rushed to him at the store and like, your wife is dead. She got into the situation at the stand, and he came there and saw the wife lifeless with the baby on her back. This is actually a sad situation, and this is just one out of many situations that actually occurred in the stampede that happened in Anambra, or Ibadan and Abuja. So it's just a thing of concern, like you said, about the hunger situation that has to be handled amicably, and not the issue surrounding it, not the fact that these organizers did it. They are not supposed to be held responsible. The issue here is what actually caused the stampede. Why did these people have to, rush so much to want to get food? People are hungry, people are suffering, people find it barely difficult to feed on a daily basis. Well, let me hold your thoughts on that. I would love to ask you, Pastor, what do you have to say about the situation of the arrest that Magistrate Court in Oyo State actually took the decision they took to arrest the Ooni'S, former Ooni'S wife, and the other two that were involved?
Yeah, well, of course, people has to take the fall. The story just narrated just sent shield shiver to my spine. It's quite tragic and pathetic that Nigerians would have to go through these particular circumstances just to get crumbs, to survive. It's quite unfortunate. But looking at the arrest of these three individuals, for me, I will call it medicine after death. All these are avoidable circumstances if we actually want to operate a country for everybody in this country. We have a situation where leaders don't care about the people they are leading. I was discussing with a friend the other day, and he was telling me how some persons came to his gate, well-dressed family people, a man and his wife with 3 kids. And they came to his gate to knock, and seeing them, he was like, what could have been the problem? And why they came is that they don't have anything to eat, So you could imagine if such a family now had that there is a certain giveaway somewhere. There's a popular saying that if you have nothing to live for, you'll be willing to die for anything. So it has gotten to that level where people don't even have regards for their lives. People throw caution in the wind just to eke out a living for them. So it's quite unfortunate. But as for the arrest, I think more investigation will still be carried out. I'm sure that it wasn't the intention of the organizers of the event for people to come and die. But then again, proper, precautionary measures should have been put in place, especially considering the prevailing circumstances. Even if you think, you've done what that is required of you as an organizer of such an event, you could have still go a step further, because some persons will just say, we have provisions for 200 persons. Don't be surprised that what they had was just for maybe 500 persons, and the people that will come will be up to 5,000. And 5,000? Yeah, of course. People are hungry. And you could imagine such amount of crowd. Nobody wants to be left out. So even if they say, be on a queue, and you will want to be in the last in the queue. Nobody wants to go home without having something in his hand. So for me, in as much as my sympathies also goes to the organizers, I'm sure that psychologically they will not be okay with themselves, because like I've said before, the intent and purpose of such event wasn't for people to come and die. But then again, somebody has to take the blame, and that is why we are seeing what we are seeing today.
All right, thank you on that.
With time, I expect more revelation will come out, and we should also learn from circumstances like that, so that tomorrow we'll know that no matter how the level of hunger is, you don't throw caution in the wind. At the end of the day, you now lost your life just because you want to go for 4 or 5 cups of rice. It's quite pathetic.
Quickly, Mr. Oscar, I would love to ask you, the federal government has actually cautioned the public about politicizing the Stampede. Do you think that the public has actually been politicizing it, this whole situation that's happened in the 3 different states?
That is the situation we faced in this part of the world. I think we face a situation whereby the government always refuse to take blame of what happens. I think we should come to a realization where government should admit that yes, they are actually responsible and the cause of the situation we are facing.
Okay, so I would love to know how they are responsible.
Now, it's obvious that the solution to Nigeria's problems lies on the table of the federal government, lies in the hands of Mr. President. But unfortunately, his refusal to address it or to do something about it is what calls for concern and worries some of us. Because we have what it takes to make Nigeria a better country. We have the resources that it takes to make Nigeria a better place. We are responsible for this crude. We are also having a refinery that we produce the crude and also have a refinery that can refine the crude. So why do we export and import our own product? Why do we have to? Now we are into agriculture before the discovery of oil. So what has stopped the federal government or the state government in their various states to actually improve on the agricultural sector, and then do what they can do to ensure that the people can actually have a source of benefiting even without being part of government? A lot of persons can also experience their better life in their communities without being involved in politics, without being involved in any government that is in place, and they can also help themselves. So why is government not making available opportunities or create a conducive atmosphere for individuals to be able to do their work, or entrepreneurs to strive and then do the better for themselves? Why do we have this kind of government? Why is it all about politics in this part of the world? Why is everything all about politics? Why is everything about political interest in this part of the world? We are in 2024. We are yet to leave 2024. Election was conducted in 2023. Now you have started planning 2027 in 2024. Even when we have not even completed the first year of your administration or your first tenure. Now you have gone to present a budget to the National Assembly and then telling them that you are presenting this budget to the 11th Assembly when we are in the 10th Assembly. Telling them that the reason why you address them as the 11th Assembly is because you know they all return back just so that they can give their consent to a budget that you are presenting. Isn't that political? Isn't that not what we're expecting in this part of the world? That's totally to tell you that Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has no plan, has no agenda for the people of this country. And it's a sad one. Unfortunately, we cannot do anything about it, and we are helpless. And those that have the power to do something about it are paying deaf ear to it. You present a budget to the National Assembly that is still in their 10th Assembly, and you are addressing them as the 11th Assembly because you know they are all coming back. Isn't that a political statement just to support what you have presented? That's what we face in this part of the world, and that is why we are still finding ourselves in this part of the world. Because if you see, organizers of a palliative are arrested, and the court are in quick action to sentence them to prison. Because what is the jurisdiction? What is the judiciary doing? Are you protecting the interests of the common masses, or you are protecting the interests of the average or the politicians? What are you doing? The judiciary was supposed to be an interpreter of the law and then to ensure that we have sanity in our judicial process or proceeding. But do we have such sanity? The answer is no. We don't have situation like that in this part of the world because everything has been politicized. Our institution that was supposed to be independent have become another out of government using to intimidate the less privileged, and it becomes a major setback. Individuals were able to come out with a personal resources to see how they can contribute
and
their own.
In essence, they try to play the role of the government.
So they try to do that. I know oftentimes, I can remember very well when 2017, I invited Kumuyi to Ogoni land when there was a lot of challenges in Ogoni. And I personally wrote a letter and sent to Kumuyi, and Kumuyi responded to the letter. The general superintendent of Deeper Life, Christian Bible Church Ministry or something, and then the man came, honored my letter, and came to Ogoni in 2017. You can see the mammoth crowd that came up because they want to be part of the blessing. Just a church crusade. I mean, church crusade, let alone food palliative. So what did you expect? Now, you can imagine how the crowd came out and were interested in this crusade. We came together and ensured that there was no stampede at the entrance of the crusade. We make sure that everybody comes in and goes out freely, even when we saw the mammoth crowd that was coming. Now, this is the church crusade, and you're talking about providing food palliative, because there is a Christmas coming and because there is hardship and you want to support the people in your own God-given way. Are you supposed to be sentenced to court, or are you supposed to be on trial? Are you supposed to be charged to court? Is the federal government of Nigeria supposed to see you as an enemy of the country or of the policy or the government? That is not supposed to be the case. Rather, what you are supposed to do was to admit that there is indeed hunger in the land,
and bring
solution on how to reduce the economic situation we are facing. How individuals can be able to afford food on their table without running to a palliative center. That is the challenge we are having. But unfortunately, this is the kind of government we have. If you speak, they come after you. If you organize palliative center, they come after you. If you do anything, they come after you.
Well,
and that is the policy we have. So we have a bad administration.
Thank you so much, Comrade Oscar, on that.